You're in the clubhouse, and these are the score predictions with these two again. It's Paul Robinson and Neil Mellor. We're going through this week in the Premier League, and we will start, why not, with Neil Mellor with Liverpool versus Everton, what will be a wet and windy Anfield. What do you think, Neil?
I think it'll be closer than most people think because of the timing of the game after international break. So I'm going to go for a narrow home win. I've gone for a 1-0 win.
A 1-0 win. Paul Robinson.
He's been pessimistic. I think there's goals in this, and Everton haven't won there in 24 visits, so I can't see a way for him to get any result this weekend. 3-1 to Liverpool.
3-1. It's 12:30 kickoff. Liverpool. Anyway, we'll go on to that. We'll see what what comes out of that. Bournemouth versus Wolves. Then let's go through the 3 o'clocks, Paul.
Yeah, tough one to call. Bournemouth had a really poor start to the season. Wolves, you don't know what you're going to get with them. Some weeks good performances, some weeks not. Can't see there being many goals in this. I think the bet's under 2.5. I've gone for 1-0 away win Wolves.
Ooh, will that do for Iraola? It's Gary O'Neill against his old side, Neil?
I think Bournemouth have had a really tough start at home, but I think they'll get something from it. I'm going to go for 1-1.
1-1 between Bournemouth and Wolves. Staying with you for Brentford, Burnley, Neil.
Neither have been playing particularly well or in great form, but I'm going to go for Brentford to win this 2-0.
Brentford 2-0 over Burnley, who's still playing their open, attractive football, but not winning games. Paul, what about your old side at Brentford?
I've gone for the same. Brentford had a really poor start to the season, but I think home advantage of the organisation, the way that the manager sets them up at home, I'll give them a 2-0 win at home.
Okay, a cracking game at Manchester City. City taking on Brighton, Paul.
Tough one to call this, isn't it? The way that City are at the moment, you're not quite sure what you're going to get. They're not as strong as they are in the market normally at the moment. I mean, they're a big value at Arsenal that we talked about, and I think there'll be a little bit of value in them now if you're constructive. I still think they'll win, but I think it'll be not as convincing as you may have expected a few weeks ago. 2-1 City. 2-1
City. Rodri's back, Neil. Is that really important for them? It clearly is.
Yeah, massive, brilliant player for them. Still no De Bruyne, which is a big miss. Two good teams, two really good teams. It's been an entertaining game to watch. But Brighton have got a terrible record against City. Never, ever, ever beat a Man City away. Sadly, I think that will continue. 2-1 Man City.
2-1 Man City. You might say Brighton a due one. Newcastle against Crystal Palace. Sticking with you, Neil.
3 games last year, all 0-0. I think it's going to be different this season. I'm going to go for 2-0 for Newcastle.
2-0 Newcastle. A comfortable home victory, Paul?
Yeah, I think so. Palace haven't got a great record up there against Newcastle. Away from home, they found it difficult as well. I'll go 3-0 Newcastle. 3-0
to Newcastle. That's a stormy performance if it comes in. Forest against Luton. This was, for a long time, a championship fixture. In fact, it wasn't for a long time, was Luton were further down. Paul, who's going to win this one?
I think it's home advantage with Forest. I mean, you look at where they are in the league now. Forest have had not a bad start, and this is a real opportunity for them to put 3 points on the board. Luton will make it difficult for them, but I think Forest will win 2-1.
Played them 4 times in the Championship, Neil. Didn't win a single one of those games, Forest. Will they make it a different result this time?
Yeah, I just think the home form again will be important for Forest this year. I think Luton will give them a game, but I think Forest will shade it 2-1.
Neil, staying with you. Another big game at 5:30. Chelsea versus Arsenal. Pochettino's never lost a Premier League home game against Arsenal.
And I don't think he'll lose this one. I think Chelsea have hit a little bit of form. I know Arsenal are still unbeaten. Massive result against City. I'm going to sit on the fence for the draw, 1-1.
1-1. Paul, what do you think?
Nah, smoke and mirrors. Chelsea aren't there yet. They're miles off it. You look at the teams that they've beaten. No disrespect to the teams they've beaten, but you would expect them to beat them and beat them comfortably. Arsenal are a different test. Although Chelsea have improved, they're not there yet for me. 1-2 away win.
Over to Bramall Lane, Paul, for the scene of the first ever Premier League goal. Sheffield United versus Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm there tomorrow night, so I'm hoping for a cracker. Sheffield United really struggling. I think with Egan ruled out for the season, the horrible injury we saw Basham get last week as well. I just can't see where Sheffield United are going to get a point from. And they're playing against a really poor Manchester United side, so you would think it was an opportunity. But I don't think they're good enough, and I think it will be an away win for United. I think they'll just have too much. 2-0 Manchester United.
2-0 United. Neil, they haven't won back-to-back Premier League away games this year, but will they do it tomorrow?
Yeah, kind of fixture, isn't it? Sheffield United not scoring enough goals, conceding too many as well. So I'm going to go for a away win. They're doing enough, same as Paul, 2-0.
To Sunday then, Claret and Blue derby, Villa against West Ham. Neil, this should should be goals in this, or will West Ham go and do a job on Villa, who are brilliant at home?
Two good teams, absolutely, yeah. Villa have been unbelievable at home. Put it down as 10 Premier League wins in a row, but I think it ends. I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1.
Yeah, David Moyes, 14 unbeaten against Aston Villa, Paul.
Yeah, so he's due to lose one, isn't he? He's due one. I'm going to go Villa home win, 2-0 Villa.
2-0 Villa. And then finally, sticking with you, Paul, for your old side, Spurs against Fulham on Monday night at the Tottenham Stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll speak about it, but it's they started the week off last week at Luton, and they went first. This weekend they're having to go last, so there's a bit more pressure. It's a different game. I think they'll cope with it. I think it'll be a decent game, but I think it'll be comfortable for them. 3-0 home win.
3-0 Spurs. Fulham, agree with that, Neil?
No, I don't think it'll be as comfortable. I think Spurs will win. I think the timing helps Spurs out of more than any Premier League team. The last game after international break. I'm going to go for a home win, but 2-1.
2-1 between Tottenham and Fulham. Did mention where we are in the tables at the moment. I know Neil's had a couple of good weeks. Paul, are you kind of fit and fighting for this now? The fight back on?
Are we finished this section now? Are we moving on? It's not been a good couple of weeks. I've been having a Manchester United, let's say.
Yeah, let's say. Win.
It's due one, very much due. You don't want to be on the wrong end or the right end of a Neil Mellor due one there. That's terrible. But let's see if they work out. Both of these guys have been doing so well this season with their predictions. Yes, Neil has done slightly better, but they are the score predictions for this week in the Premier League.